I want to make this clear, this is not a video hating on Sparking Zero whatsoever. This is the greatest fighting game of all time and my channel revolves around it completely. But there are some nitpicks I have and I want to talk about it. Coming up first is the character selection screen. This is not the biggest deal in the world, but it just looks lazy if I'm being honest. And it's going to get a little tedious scrolling through all 180 characters when it's made like this. And yes, I know they made it this way because we don't have any loading screens and we jump right into the fight. But at the very least, they could have used this UI and placed the transformations with the characters, just like how Raging Blast 2's character selection screen was, for example. At the end of the day, this is just the character selection screen. We're just gonna have to deal with it if I'm being honest. Moving on. Another thing is that the game can get a little glitchy sometimes. The clips I'm about to show you is when you can see under the map for a couple of seconds whenever the camera pans downwards. It gets a little weird and you would be shocked just how often this occurs. This is something I could definitely see getting patched day one or possibly they already worked on it already. So I'm not too worried about it. The next thing I want to talk about is the lack of stages so far. I'm going to list every stage that hasn't been mentioned yet. So we have Beerus's planet, Kame House, the Lookout, King Kai's planet, Space, Glacier, the Xeno Expo Arena, Destroyed West City, the Universe 6 tournament stage, and we also don't have Hell from Fusion Reborn. Now this is kind of crazy not having some of these maps because they were staples in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 like Hell and Kame Lookout. Call it coping, but I want to believe these stages are going to be in the game but just in the shop where you can purchase it. We have seen characters in the stages also being able to be bought, so fingers crossed that's what it is. If not, I'd be really shocked. Also, Beerus's planet could possibly be DLC with the superhero pack, so we're just going to have to wait and see until then. I'm gonna just keep it 100. I think Bandai is keeping this hidden until launch. I don't know the reason behind it, but if we truly are missing all these maps, then the limitations on custom battles would be affected. Moving on to the next topic is damage scaling. I'm surprised that no one has said anything about this, but it has caught my eye for a while. Damage does way too much. As you can see in this Gogeta clip, he's doing a regular combo and it's just melting his health. They had gone better at this because the earlier builds was crazy. One ultimate would do over 2 bars and the matches would go instantly, it would end instantly. But at the same time, I feel like 5v5s are going to be the most dominant aspect in this game, so maybe that's why they had the damage scale to be that high. That's the only thing that I could think of that makes sense, but if they can just decrease it a little bit, it would be perfect. Now, I have seen a lot of people talk about this in the community through TikTok and Twitter saying that these characters should be balanced. The people who said this most likely never experienced or touched a Tenkaichi game before. They instantly think that people are going to stick with the meta and maybe use 20 out of the 180 characters in the game, and that's just wrong. Even the producers constantly told us that the game is going to be unbalanced and that's how it's just going to be. If you can't get with it, then you might as well just play fighters if I'm being real. There's always going to be a low tier and a very high tier character in these type of games. And with that being said, there will be Yamcha players out there who can easily take down a Whis player. It all just comes down to who's more skilled. So I don't want to hear people talking about this game sucks because so-and-so is overpowered. What really matters if you're going to put in the work in or not. Adding on to that claim, we already got the confirmation with DP battles from the older Tenkaichi game to make its return with Sparking Zero, so you won't be seeing a full stack lineup of all the god characters since it's going to be point based. If you see a UI Goku and Beerus on a team, odds are there's going to be a fodder character for the last, and that's just how it's going to be. And this game mode is going to be implemented in rank, so there is balance. The last thing I want to talk about is crossplay. This is probably one of the most controversial topics of Sparking Zero right now. I have heard people say they wouldn't even get their game since crossplay is not out, and I do understand some people don't have 2 consoles and they don't want to get another console because it's expensive nowadays. You see the PS5 Pro about 700. People just don't have the money for that, so they're like, yo, if I don't want to play with my friends and I can't use crossplay, I'm not gonna get it. That's respectable, but at the same time, apart from Dragon Ball Breakers, we have never got crossplay before in an anime arena. We haven't got it in Naruto Storm, we haven't got it in Fighters, we haven't got it in Jump Force. It's just like, it's very unlikely, so you shouldn't hold it against them to be like, oh, I'm not buying the game just because crossplay is not out. We never seen it before, so we can't really be like, you get the point. Also, it would affect the sales. If it were to have crossplay, that means the sales would low-key go. Actually, the sales are already #1 in general. Sparking Zero is #1 on PlayStation Store, #1 on Amazon, so it's going crazy. But it would cost them a loss of sales because now consumers won't have to feel the need to get a console to play with their friends online. It's all a marketing strategy and Bandai knows this. If Bandai were to release crossplay in this game, it would probably be one of the most hypest things that can be announced yet, but from a business standpoint, it's quite obvious it's not going to happen. And for the people saying they're not going to buy the game because it doesn't have crossplay, it's just delusional, and by all means, don't play the game. I don't want this at all to sound like a negative video, and I can't wait for the game to drop, but these are things that need to be heard, and I wanted to get my opinions on it. With that being said, I hope you enjoy the video, and make sure to comment, like, subscribe. The question of the day is, who are you most excited to use on Sparking Zero? By the way, we're dropping daily content and grinding when Sparking Zero drops, so I hope to see you there.